it's time for Fantasy Fanatics.
Welcome into Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I am back. I have returned.
Yes.
I am Freeman.
You're back, and that's great.
Yes.
So,
I'm thinking we're going to have to
we will,
add in Risky for Goodsies. I like him.
Yeah, for sure.
I like his knowledge base, and I like how he sounds.
Yeah, he knows a lot about sports. He knows a lot of, like, the random things that you and me probably don't know.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's good for good sports knowledge. But, yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at Ryan Stuprich.
And at Freeman Radio. What's Ryan Risky's? Because we're going to add him. He's part of the Fantasy Fanatics family now.
I think his Twitter handle's at rrisky16. Something like that.
And if you're listening, welcome to the family.
Right. Welcome to the family. So there was a big Thursday night game last night, and, of course, with all the Ravens controversy, it kind of sucks for the Ravens that they had to play so early, but...
Agreed, but the Steelers had to kind of play early, too.
Yeah, and I think that was really almost worse for the Steelers, as the Steelers fall to 1-1. The Ravens are now 1-1, as the Ravens won 26-6.
It stunned me. It shocked me. I was like, what?
Yeah, I saw most of the second half. I know you saw more of the game. So how was the pace early on?
Roethlisberger couldn't do anything. It was incomplete pass after incomplete pass. The Ravens' D had his number, I guess. And Flacco didn't really throw until they got into the red zone. It was all handoff to Pierce.
Yeah, and
he had 22 carries for 96 yards. 22 carries is a lot of carries.
And let's not forget that if Ray Rice, if that whole other thing didn't happen, Ray Rice would have been back next week. So that's pretty crazy too. And they still had a really good run game with Bernard Pierce, which I was surprised, but I was happy for him because I like him. So yeah.
Hashtag Goodell resign. Good day, sir.
Yeah, we might get in a little bit later onto the show about all that junk that's going on. But, yeah, Joe Flacco, he had 21 completions with 29 attempts. He had 2 touchdowns that he threw for 166 yards, so he did a pretty good job.
Both going to Fantasy star Owen Daniels. Psych.
Exactly.
What? Wasted points.
And Roethlisberger, he actually threw for more yards than Flacco, but no touchdowns. That was the big issue.
217 yards when he just came off like a 360-yard game on Sunday.
Right.
His arm must have been tired. I don't know.
Now, who did the Steelers beat on Sunday? I forget.
The Steelers beat the Browns, barely.
Yeah, because I know the Browns came back. I was surprised Hoyer was starting to turn into a comeback kid there towards the end.
It looked like the Steelers were going to completely spank the Browns, and you're kind of used to that. You're like, okay. But there were so many comeback games that surprised me on Sunday. Yeah. New England was spanking the Dolphins. I was like, okay, that's normal. The Dolphins come back and start whooping them.
Right.
The Eagles were getting spanked by Jacksonville.
That was even more surprising.
That was a huge surprise.
But then
they come back.
Give Nick Foles a lot of credit. I know he's on your fantasy team, so I mean, I'm sure you're pretty happy about that. He had a great second half.
He had 2 fumbles in the first quarter, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, hey, at least he redeemed himself. So
he did in a big way.
That was good. Yeah,
and then another comeback. This was like huge. Was the Indianapolis-Denver game. So there was a lot of huge games.
That game I watched in its entirety, and I was hoping Andrew Luck could come back. Because I'm a big fan of him, and he's on my fantasy team. He scored, I think, 34 points for my fantasy team, so I was pretty happy about that.
Oh, he's a second quarter quarterback. That's when he shows up. But what a great first week, first of all.
Yeah, it all started with that Seahawks and Packers game on Thursday night, which was a great game, too, for Seattle.
More of a domination.
Yeah, but, I mean, of course it's fun to see the Packers lose like that. So.
Yeah. Well, it was in Seattle, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was in Seattle, and it was just a good game overall.
A little later, we should talk about how the San Francisco was at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see how many red San Francisco jerseys were in the crowd?
I saw a picture on my timeline on Twitter. It was like a sea of red. Yeah. No blue and white in the crowd at all.
Because they know Dallas is horrible.
Now Dallas is in a lot of trouble because the Texas Rangers suck and the Cowboys suck.
Yes.
All they got is the Dallas Stars, and that's hockey, and I don't know how popular that is in Texas.
I mean, I guess the Eagles pretty much have that down.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah, Dallas, when they're playing at home, they're not playing at home because no one wants to go to their games.
Right.
Jerry Jones was asked about it, and he's like, oh, I don't pay attention to the crowd. I'm watching the game. Sure, man. It's just money in his pocket. Sold out seats. Doesn't matter who they go to.
Yeah. Boy, he's something else.
I mean, If you gave someone $100 million and then they threw 3 interceptions, how would you feel? I don't know.
Exactly.
I thought it was a horrible idea to keep Romo going, but whatever.
Yeah. Let's see here. For the Steelers on that Thursday night game, they didn't get any touchdowns, which I thought was very surprising because Roethlisberger threw for 217 yards, and you don't even get a touchdown out of that.
They never had a drive. They were always interrupted by some sort of incompletion or an interception. There's one interception at the end of the game, but they couldn't. I was surprised that Le'Veon Bell wasn't, like, he only got, let's see here, like 50-some yards? He got 59 yards on 11 carries. They did not utilize Le'Veon Bell really at all.
Utilize their run game very well at all. I mean, when your leader's 59 yards, that's not good either.
And he was a stud, a fantasy stud week 1.
Yeah, he was.
Week 2, he's a fantasy dud.
Stud to dud, right?
Stud to dud, just in a matter of 4 days.
A guy that did really well for the Ravens, he scored 2 touchdowns, was Owen Daniels, and he's from it. Naperville, Illinois, so he's he's from the area, which is pretty cool.
PETA only got 3 fantasy points. He got like 1 reception for 30 yards or something.
Yeah.
And they didn't use him in the red zone. They used Owen Daniels. I just get touchdowns how you get touchdowns, but give some brother some love, man.
Yeah, you should be able to give.
PETA's a big target,
right?
And now I have
him, and then
tight
even
end in one of my 6 leagues,
and then
only
even
has 3 points.
Torrey Smith only had 1 reception.
Yeah,
it was a 10-yard.
I mean, the
catch.
Steeler D did good, but they didn't stop the run, and they kept on getting those 3rd downs because Bernard Pierce was getting those 3-yard runs that they needed, I guess.
Yeah. So, like, in the first quarter, Owen Daniels had the 2-yard pass from Flacco. Then in the second quarter, Justin Tucker had a 30-yard field goal. Then there was a field goal by the Steelers and another field goal by the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then Owen Daniels, 1-yard pass from Joe Flacco. So these are not, long passes at all. So they did really well in the red zone, the Ravens did. And then 3 field goals in the fourth quarter.
So Owen Daniels overall got like 12 points and 3 yards.
Yeah.
That's, wow. Okay.
That's something.
That's something. We should go into week 1.
Yeah, okay. Let's.
I mean, last night's game was just a blowout.
Pretty much. The Bears, of course, had their issues.
Oh my gosh!
Against the Buffalo
you said
Bills.
11-5, right?
That was my prediction. Unfortunately,
it's starting to look like I'm right in this, but it's only week 1, so we'll let it slide.
If I mean, I was listening to some radio stations today. There are some people that still think the Bears have a shot at beating the 49ers.
Sure,
I just don't see it.
And they just destroyed.
And it's their new stadium.
Cowboys.
I don't think the Bears have won in San Francisco. I saw this stat. I don't think they've won since 1986, a year after they won the Super Bowl. They haven't won in San Francisco since.
I don't know. After they got rid of the Yankee Stadium or whatever, and they made the new one, people started winning there because they said the magic was gone or something. So maybe that will happen.
I don't know. I'm hoping so.
But the 49er fans are kind of nuts.
Right. And then how about the Vikings? The Vikings killed the St. Louis Rams. I know the Rams are without Sam Bradford, which really sucks for them. But the Rams are supposed to have a good defense. They didn't step up at all, and they lost 34-6.
Cordell Patterson, man. He had 3 carries for 102 yards.
Yeah, he's not so much a sleeper anymore. He's just a good running back option now.
He's not a running back. He's a wide receiver.
Well,
he had more rushing yards
that's the thing,
than
yeah.
Adrian Peterson. And
right.
Adrian Peterson only got 9 points.
Yeah. That's the thing. And then the Chiefs also got blown out. Well, not necessarily blown out, but they lost 26-10 to the Titans. I don't think anyone really saw that coming.
The Titans have a good defense, and Jake Locker isn't that bad of a quarterback. And he has weapons now, and Justin Hunter and Nate Washington, and what's that other guy's name?
On the defense or the offense for the Titans?
The wide receiver.
They have
Kendall Wright.
Yes. Kendall Wright.
And
I had him on my fantasy team last year.
And Kendall Wright actually got a touchdown in his first game. Instead of only getting 2 in a season, he got half of those in one day.
Right.
So good. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, I was surprised because Alex Smith, I think he had a couple interceptions. He usually doesn't throw interceptions. He's usually very conservative with the ball, but he was trying to force it in there, and they definitely lost a game that I thought they were going to win at least.
I don't think the Chiefs are even going to go to the playoffs this year.
So you think it's pretty much a lock for the Denver Broncos, or do you think the San Diego Chargers could make some noise? Because I know it's not going to be the Raiders.
It's gonna be Denver. It's already Denver.
Yeah.
San Diego's going to lose some big games.
Right. And of course, right now in the NFC North, the Lions and the Vikings are in first place. Who would have thought that would happen week 1?
That is pretty. I mean, the Lions okay, but the Vikings.
Yeah.
That's quite a turnaround.
That's something. And now the Vikings are home. I don't remember who they play. Let me look real quick. I'm pretty sure the Vikings have a pretty. It's going to be another close game. Yeah. They play the Patriots is who they play.
Yeah.
So the Patriots go into Minnesota and play in their new stadium. I know they have an outdoor stadium now, so it's going to be pretty cold there pretty soon. They're going to have to get used to that like the Bears and Packers do.
I can't believe they don't have a dome anymore. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. The Chargers, I watched most of this game, the Monday night game.
It was a close one.
The Cardinals upset them 18-17, putting up 12 points in the fourth quarter, the Cardinals did, so that's something.
Palmer looked good.
Yeah, he did look good.
24-37 for 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did somehow injure his shoulder. It wasn't game-related. I don't know what happened there. He's
Who knows?
probable, though. But Rivers just didn't look good. He threw for 238 yards.
Mm-hmm. They had a good third quarter, and that was about it.
If you have Rivers as your starting quarterback, are you going to start him? I don't know. Who's he playing? We'll have to look at next week's matchups.
He seems like a good backup to me in a fantasy league. I think there's a lot.
How many people are in the league.
There should be people you should be able to start over Phillip Rivers, but you never know. And then, of course, the first game of the Monday night game, the Lions blew out the Giants. Eli Manning is still not very good.
He threw more to Donnell.
Yeah.
Donnell had 5 receptions for 56 yards and was the leader of that receiving core. And you're like, where's Victor Cruz?
Exactly.
Where are they at? Oh, man. I hope they can get out of that because I know a lot of people went with Victor Cruz high up early on. So hopefully that's not a bust for your fantasy season, but you might want to start looking elsewhere. Maybe
I would think so.
Marcel Lee for Jacksonville,
Yeah.
something maybe like that.
The Texans, they won their first game. This was a toss-up game pretty much between the Washington Redskins and the Houston Texans.
Regretfully, Clowney is done for a few weeks.
I think I heard 4 to 6 weeks he's out, something like that.
Knee injury or something serious going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's too bad for him as his debut, and he was doing really good.
And I thought that the Texans could be one of those sleeper teams this year that could make some noise, be an 8-8, possibly 9-7. I'm not so sure now, but we'll go over in our next segment.
They still have J.J. Watt, man. They still have J.J. Watt.
They still do have J.J. Watt, and they're supposed to have a good defense, and they did have a good defense. They held the Redskins to 2 field goals. So
I mean, J.J. Watt did a lot in that game.
Yeah, that he did. So we are going to go over the games for this week. Of course, there's going to be a lot of good games, including the Falcons. Can the Falcons be 2-0 after beating the Saints? So we'll go over the matchups for Week 2 coming up on Fantasy Fanatics, SportsTownChicago.com. Yeah. Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Andrew Freeman.
And now it is time to check out our fantasy league, which is Fantasy Fanatics Football League, our free agents, and also picking the matchups for Week 2
Indeed.
of the NFL. Of course, we're not doing the Thursday night game. That already happened.
It already happened, and if you had Roethlisberger as your starting quarterback, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, too. And unfortunately, he threw that interception at the end. So
yes, so Freeman's Fantasy Fanatics.
Right. So this first game in Week 2, there's going to be Miami versus the Bills. These two teams are 1-1, surprisingly. And the Dolphins had a big comeback against the Patriots, and the Bills had a good game defensively and also against the Bears, and they both are 1-1. This is going to be in Buffalo. Who do you think is going to win this game?
I believe that the Dolphins will be 2-0. Mike Wallace is going to play, so you need to play him.
I agree with you. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game, which makes me a little nervous. I'm going to the Dolphins-Bears game in October, like October 19th or something.
They're good.
Yeah. I got the game thinking, well, this should be a lock for Chicago.
Yeah. And all of a sudden,
not
they're
so sure.
looking like studs. Mm-hmm. Mike Wallace and Tannehill are actually in sync, which is surprising. Tannehill's not that bad of a quarterback.
No, he's not.
He went 18-32 for 178 with 2 touchdowns. So
yeah,
low yards, but Moreno blew up.
Yeah. That was just a great acquisition by the Dolphins to get Noshawn Moreno, because now they have a good running game, good passing game. They got the whole package.
I cannot believe Denver. For 2 years, they put him RB2, and for 2 years in a row, he took the RB1 spot.
Right.
And then they trade him away, and like, Monte Ball, you got this. No, he doesn't. I picked up Monte Ball in one of my leagues, and it
didn't really work out for you too well.
Week 1 so far, nah.
Okay, we got Jacksonville versus the Redskins. This is another sort of toss-up game. I know the Redskins aren't that good, but I mean, against Jacksonville, they should win, right?
I think you're going to see how good Morris is. I mean, he's not the flashy back like Adrian Peterson, but he's very consistent. Mm-hmm. He's one of the best hole runners. He runs through the blocks very well. I see him getting... He went 14 carries, 91 yards. I see him having similar numbers with 1 touchdown. So
you're going Redskins.
Redskins.
I'm going to go Redskins as well.
And Morris is really the only... Him and Garcon. If you have Griffin, I hope you have like Carson Palmer as your secondary quarterback.
Right. Dallas and the Titans. This is an interesting game. The Titans, of course, they won their week 1. They're a better team than the Cowboys.
Titans at home. I will go with the Titans. The defense looks solid, and you have a core of wide receivers, which I feel sorry for any secondary, because you have Nate Washington, like I said, Kendall Wright, and how do I forget that last guy's name? I can't remember it.
I'm not sure either.
Hunter,
okay.
Justin Hunter.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the Titans. That's my problem. I mean, everyone knows about the Cowboys because they're so bad. You got Romo and Des Bryant, all those characters and everything. Yeah. I'm going to go Tennessee as well, but I would not be surprised if Tony Romo had a good game, because I think he's due for one, sort of. Where he might throw 2 or 3 touchdowns. I just think the Titans' defense is too good.
They did play a very elite defense, so I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden Romo blows up for a 400-yard game and throws a touchdown to each one of his receivers.
Yeah, he's capable of doing that.
But Tennessee also has a good defense, so we'll see how they handle the pressure at Tennessee.
Right. Okay, we got the Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. This one, I mean, the Cardinals barely hung on, but they did beat San Diego, and the Giants are coming off a bad loss to Detroit. The Giants are home. I think I'm going to go New York Giants.
You go for that, because they're only going to win 1 or 2 games this season, so you have fun with that. I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
You're going to go Cardinals?
Carson Palmer's cleared to play, and he still hasn't used Larry Fitzgerald yet. He hasn't even pulled that gun out yet, so... because he was injured that first week.
Right.
He had a hamstring issue.
That's true, and they do have good receivers. I just think Eli Manning at home against a team like the Cardinals, I know the Cardinals aren't that bad, and they're supposed to have a good defense, but I just see the Cardinals losing it, traveling all the way to the East Coast. Patriots in Minnesota. This is actually like a better game than we originally thought, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota looks pretty good. I know they still don't really have a quarterback because they have Matt Castle, but I mean the Patriots are following a bad loss, so I think they're going to go into Minnesota and win.
It's hard, but I want to agree with you, but it's so hard.
I know Cordero Patterson, right?
Cordero, yeah, but I think
and Adrian Peterson too.
I think New England is going to shut down Patterson and actually have a pretty good game and beat him. So I'm going to go with New England. Shane Vereen, I hope you have him on your team because I think he's going to have a great day.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think he probably will have a pretty good day. New Orleans and Cleveland. This should be a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. New Orleans, no matter how bad their defense is, will always get more points than Cleveland. Hoyer went 19-31 with 230 yards, and that's not enough to beat the Saints, who can throw up 40 points if they have to.
Not at all. Okay, Atlanta and Cincinnati. Who do you think's going to win this one, Andrew?
This is the hardest game to
This
call.
is definitely the hardest one this year.
Because it's home for the Bengals, but the Falcons, I mean, you have Roddy White, Julio Jones, and then the plethora of running backs. Who knows who's going to get the... Devontae Freeman didn't even do anything last game, and he's supposed to be an awesome running back. So I'm going to just say Atlanta keeps rolling. Their vengeance for last season is going to come, and they're going to unleash upon Cincinnati.
Right. I'm also going to take Atlanta. I think they can go into Cincinnati. I think they're going to be a really good road team this year.
Yeah.
Besides their home games, I think they're a type of team, especially when they had all those people injured last year, and now they're back. And Matt Ryan, I've never really liked Matt Ryan. I always thought he was worse than what he is, but he's turning into a pretty good quarterback as he's been for a while. So yeah, I'm going to go Atlanta as well.
With Atlanta, I'd say Julio Jones will be your guy that you want to start from that team. And Ryan, he will not be putting up 448 yards this game.
No.
Because Cincinnati's D is pretty stout.
It's going to be a close game. This is going to be one of those field goals, last possession type games.
Yeah.
For sure. Detroit and Carolina, this is another pretty good game. Cam Newton, he'll be playing. Detroit had Matthew Stafford, who had a really good game last game. I know Andrew likes Matthew Stafford.
Yes, I do.
So who do you think is going to win this game?
This is another hard one, actually. I want to say Lions, but I'm going to go Panthers.
Okay.
Cam Newton, he's back. He's at home, and he has Benjamin. So watch out.
I'm going to go Detroit, actually.
Okay.
I think you're going to see a really good game from Joke Bell and from Reggie Bush. I think their running game will just sort of power them through. And I think Matthew Stafford is finally turning into a quarterback that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. A lot of times he throws a lot of bad interceptions. He's kind of like Jay Cutler in that sense. But I think he's finally starting to figure it out. I think Jim Schwartz, him leaving, really helps them a lot. And as far as their coaching concerns are concerned, and I think the Lions defense will step up and make one more stop than the Panthers can. So I'm going to take Detroit.
All right. Someone to start on the Saints-Browns that I didn't mention, sort of someone that you wouldn't think of starting is the Crowell kid, Isaiah Crowell. He got 2 touchdowns and like 30 yards. With him and West being the only running backs, I think he's just going to steal some more. He's going to get at least 1 touchdown. So if you need a running back, Isaiah Crowell is pretty much available in all leagues.
All right, we're going to do an update, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up some of these scores. So welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Andrew Freeman, and we're breaking down the NFL Week 2 games.
Yes, we are.
Where do we leave off?
We left off with Detroit and Carolina, so next up is St. Louis against Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
St. Louis looked really bad, but so did the Buccaneers.
Yeah, they did. And I was, I wasn't surprised that the Buccaneers looked bad. I mean, look, you have Lovie Smith and Josh McCown, but this is going to be another tough game.
I just feel bad for people that picked up Doug Martin in like round 4.
Mm-hmm. And then now look where they are.
Yeah, he had 7 yards and a knee injury. Congratulations.
Yeah. Is he going to be? How long is he going to be out, or is he going to be?
I don't know how long he's going to be out.
Because I didn't hear anything about it.
Bobby Rainey is getting picked up like hotcakes.
Right.
So I believe that Bobby Rainey is the back to play in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think he's going to do much, but he's the back to play. Zach Stacy, I think, is going to have his what should have been his debut game last week. Is going to be this week. He's going to get 100 yards, I believe, on this weak Tampa Bay defense.
So you're going to pick the Rams?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm also going to pick the Rams, but I would not be surprised in the least if I was wrong.
I mean, your quarterback, you don't know who the quarterback of the Rams is.
Right.
But they're still better than the Buccaneers.
I think so. And I think Lovie Smith always loses these games.
Yeah.
These type of games where you play just like an awful team and you're like, oh, they got this in the bag. Like when he was the Bears coach, oh, they got this in the bag, and then they lose. So.
Yeah. I think he's going to get fired from his second starting coach position here soon.
I wouldn't be surprised. Seattle and San Diego. San Diego, of course, they did a pretty good job against the Cardinals, but they just couldn't hold on late. But against Seattle, even though it's in San Diego, when you're facing the Seahawks, Seattle's probably going to win.
I mean, it's close enough to Seattle for there to be a large fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with Seattle.
I'm not even sure if Seattle's going to lose a game this year.
I mean,
That's
it
the
seems
thing.
like they're dominating right now, but someone's got to get to Russell Wilson. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Someone's going to stop Lynch.
Yeah,
Who's going to stop Percy Harvin, though? That's
the thing. Well,
Can you stop all
there's
three?
just it's like the Seahawks have 4 or 5 receivers you could throw to any time, and they'll always they'll always be productive. Whereas with San Diego, I mean, you got Allen, who's pretty good, and you got an okay run game, and you got Phillip Rivers, who can do some things, but.
Keenan Allen was completely shut down week 1.
Right, and that's
out
against
there.
the Cardinals. Now when you're up against Seattle, it's even worse.
I mean, if Sherman's on you, they didn't even pass against Sherman in the Green Bay game. And, Rodgers is, I would say he's a pretty smart guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is.
I'm going to say Rivers, don't do that. Don't try it. Just no.
Yeah. Okay. Next game is the Texans against the Raiders.
It's a blowout, Texans. I mean, Fitzpatrick isn't that great of a quarterback, but when you have Adrian Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins, you really don't have to be that great. You just have to throw the ball in the air.
Yeah, I'm going to go Texans, but I'm not so sure it's going to be a blowout like you say, Andrew. I could see this being, it's a battle of 2 not very good teams, but I could see it being a low-scoring game, a game like 14-10, something like that.
McFadden is the running back, and Carr is a rookie quarterback that's going against J.J. Watt. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a break, and then we will come back, and we will go over the rest of the games. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 games left that we'll go over, so... Stick around to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com.
J.J. Watt's going to be his dad.
Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Frizzy Free.
Or Andrew Freeman.
Yeah, Andrew Freeman, sorry.
Same thing.
It was a 90s rap group I was in. It's a long story.
Oh, well, yeah. I wouldn't know. I was in kindergarten, so.
Yeah.
We got the Jets versus the Packers. This is Green Bay's home opener. Of course, they got manhandled by the Seahawks, but then again, who wouldn't? And the Jets had, a so-so game versus the Raiders. I know they won, but it was.
Yeah, and the first half, I actually thought the Packers' defense was really good. I was getting sick of those calls of legal use of hands or whatever.
Right.
Let the game play, but good Lord, every 2 seconds. Legal use of hands.
There was also some questionable calls in that game last night.
Yeah, definitely.
Against the Steelers at the Ravens.
But it was driving me insane because they're stopping the game so much because, you know what, when you're blocking someone, you might smack them in the face. It might happen. So let's just put the whistle away, boys.
So who do you think's going to win this game?
I think Green Bay, like I said, their defense impressed me. Up until the second half, but they were looking pretty fresh.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Packers. It seems like a no-brainer to me. I know the Jets, I don't think their defense is horrible, but it won't be able to stop the Packers. Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty much all you need to beat the Jets.
Randall Cobb. Yeah, Randall Cobb. I was thinking Alex Cobb, the pitcher. Yeah. He's going to have a great old time against the Jets D.
I think
big
so.
Big yards for him.
We got Kansas City and Denver. This would have been a really good matchup last year.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as good this year.
No. Broncos go 2-0 and destroy the Chiefs.
I agree.
35-10 13. I'll just throw out a random
35.
number.
That sounds pretty accurate.
The Chiefs, they're, like I said 2-3 weeks ago, they are Broncos light. Mm-hmm. They're like the light beer of the Broncos.
Well, especially, it didn't help when last year, they were hobbling into the playoffs. They lost something like 3 or 4 games in a row going into the playoffs.
They're hobbling this year, too. Week 1, they lost a few guys.
Yeah. And now they have to go into Denver, which is never easy.
Makes you wonder what they're serving in the Gatorade in Kansas City.
I don't know.
Osteoporosis.
They're definitely not serving Kansas City barbecue, that's for sure.
I got weak bones.
The Sunday night game, this is going to be very sad. The Bears and 49ers. Is there any chance that the Bears can win this?
There's always a chance.
Right.
Half the 49ers could die in a plane crash or something.
Then they'd be the 29ers or something.
The 29ers. Wow, that was morbid.
Yeah, but
we just took that to a dark place.
Yeah, we did. Well, hey, that's what you got to have some good dark humor here to lighten up for the Bears fans, because this is going to be very, very tough.
The Bears go 0-2 onto the path of greatness of 8-8, like I said they would,
which is what they were last year,
and
the
year before.
Pretty much I think 2012 they were 10-6 maybe, but then before that they were definitely 8-8, 8-8, 7-9. Yeah,
the Dallas Cowboys are Bears light. How about that?
That's a good comparison.
I'm just saying they went 8-8 3 seasons in a row, and they still have that coach Garrett, what's his face?
Brad Garrett or whatever.
Well,
no, his name's Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
He should have been. I cannot. The Dallas. I could talk about the Jerry Jones the ass. Okay.
Jerry Jones, Des Bryant. It's just like every player on their team. It doesn't get any better.
Jerry Jones is the owner, and
that's where it all starts.
He's more of an owner, general manager, and coach, but he's doing a horrible job.
Right.
He hasn't won a Super Bowl since the mid-'90s.
Yep.
Emmitt Smith was on the roster.
When they had Troy Aikman and company.
Yep. Let's move on. Eagles-Colts.
Yes, the Eagles and Colts, this will probably be a good game.
It's going to be a shootout.
But I think the Colts are going to win. I think Andrew Luck is just going to be too strong.
That's what I'm saying. I definitely see Luck having a good game here. I want Foles to do well. They're both going to have good points, fantasy-wise. But
this is going to be our 2 quarterbacks going up against each other, by the way.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
And I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Indianapolis pulls ahead on this one. It's at home. They came up against Denver, the best offense in the game. Mm-hmm. I can see them winning this one.
All right. So those are our matchups. If you want to tell us ours, you can tweet at us at Ryan Stuprich.
Or at Freeman Radio.
And maybe throw Ryan Risky for a loop and tweet him your picks, and he'll be very confused. That's rrisky16.
And he'll rant on about the something or other about the history of the Cleveland Browns.
He'll let you know the records that these teams had at this point last year.
Back when they were the Tennessee Oilers, I don't know.
The Houston Oilers.
That team.
So try to tweet at him too and let us know what you think. So here's some of the free agents in our league. There is a wide receiver available, Alex Hearns on Jacksonville.
Yeah, I just dropped him.
Yeah. Joe Flacco is available. Somebody dropped him. He has a waiver for Wednesday, so
nice.
That's going to be interesting.
And he already played and got his fantasy points, so it's too late for this week.
Yeah, but Joe Flacco, that's a good option for backup QB, possibly. Derek Anderson, the Carolina QB. Of course, he played because Cam Newton was out, but he should be back. I think Cam Newton's going to be back.
He's back this week.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, okay, and that's the Detroit Carolina game, and so they definitely need him back.
97% sure he's coming back.
Right. The Vikings defense is available. Maybe that's a good option. I know they had a really good week last week against St. Louis, and now against the Patriots, not so much. But
let's see here.
You can see what happened.
Quarterback.
Yeah. Also, EJ Manuel is available from the Buffalo Bills. He did pretty well against the Bears. It was more of their running game with Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller, but
available quarterbacks. I would go. probably in this order: Joe Flacco, Tony Romo, and Ryan Tannehill. Those are our top ones.
Yeah, I would say so.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe, if he can keep. I mean, he does have amazing wide receivers.
And Josh McCown might be able to rack up some points. The problem is, how many interceptions is he going to throw? How many incompletes is he going to throw?
I mean, he was comfortable in the Bears' offense, and I don't think they're playing that there. So
no, they're
just
not.
Foresee horribleness.
The Bears have pretty much done a complete 180 from when they had Lovie Smith.
Yeah.
It went from all defense to pretty much all offense. So.
Looking at running backs, Mark Ingram is available in our league.
Okay.
I'd actually Terrence West. What? I want to pick him up right now.
Yeah, because I actually have a question. I have Chris Ivory as he's on my bench, but I'm starting him this week over C.J. Spiller. C.J. Spiller, I'm a little skeptical about. I'm wondering if I should pick up Mark Ingram and drop C.J. Spiller, because I might do that. I don't know who. I don't know what other running back I would pick up.
Terrence West, like right now.
Terrence West? Do you think that that's a better option?
The problem with Mark Ingram is that there's Kyrie, there's Pierre.
Yep.
There's like 3 other backs that are going to get...
So he probably won't get as much touches.
I mean, he's going to get the same amount of touches, but is he going to be as good with those touches as he was last week?
Yeah,
That's up in the air.
Yeah, because I shouldn't have C.J. Spiller on my team, right?
Terrence West for sure is going to get 20 carries.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
And he is playing the Saints.
And he is playing the Saints. They will get yards on the Saints.
Yes.
Ahmad Bradshaw is available in our league, and I would say he's the second pickup I'd get.
Yeah. It says he's probable, but I'm not too worried about that.
He got more looks on the reception side.
Yeah, because my fantasy team as a whole is pretty good. It's just the running back issue. Because I'm keeping Chris Ivory. I think he could be good for the Jets.
Chris Ivory's a good person to keep.
Right. And, of course, my running back I'm not changing at all would be Matt Forte, obviously. So, yeah.
But Terrence West is available in our league. Ahmad Bradshaw, which those are 2 very good. They will get you double-digit points. Also, if you're in a deeper league, I'd pick up Isaiah Crowell because he's going to get some goal line looks. He got 15 points week 1 because he had 2 touchdowns and like 30 yards or something like that.
Yeah, it says 15 points here. So, yeah.
5 attempts. He only had 5 attempts, but he was the 3rd string. Now he's the 2nd string, so double that. He might be getting 10 looks. Isaiah Crowell, another
and I think I think everyone could just pretty much overlook Justin Forsett just for the fact that Bernard Pierce had such a good game. He's pretty much number 1 there.
Justin Forsett didn't do too bad. He had 8 carries for 56 yards. But when it comes to goal line carries, you know Bernard Pierce is going to get it. He's a big guy. He's going to knock people over.
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch any of the Tennessee running backs because Sean Green's available. I'd leave that alone.
James Starks on Green Bay is available, but he's not going to get nearly as many.
New York Jets shut down the run. They have a great front 7, so I wouldn't think.
Oh, here's looking onto wide receivers. There's Marcus Wheaton. I know you dropped him, right?
Yes, I actually was iffy on dropping Marcus Wheaton, but Marcus Wheaton is a good pickup.
Yeah.
He didn't get too many yards last night because that's a whole the team.
I'm not sure how many teams in our league need help with running back. With wide receiver help, but because I certainly don't. But yeah, if you do need help, I mean, this is a good guy to have on your bench. Play during the bye weeks.
The bye weeks.
Yeah,
Marcus Wheaton's a good bench player, and then another guy that I'd look at is Malcolm Floyd.
Malcolm Floyd's a good
available.
option. Sure.
He had 4 for 50 with 1 touchdown.
And the game that Devin Hester had yesterday, last week, I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. He had 5 receptions, but it was 99 yards.
That's the best he's going to like.
How does that happen?
I don't foresee him doing that on a weekly basis, and I don't foresee Matt Ryan throwing for.
Well, he shouldn't. Well, that's the thing. Hester's
yards.
Like the 4th option on that team.
Yeah.
But I was surprised. I mean, against the Saints and everything, he had 5 receptions, 99 yards, 10 fantasy points in this league. So
it's not going to happen on a weekly basis. It's going to happen like once every 4 weeks, maybe, or maybe he'll break through for a kick return and get a touchdown. But I wouldn't expect that on a weekly basis.
Right. Tight ends, looking at tight ends.
Yes. Difficult situation here because there's not very many good tight ends. Good spot start would be if you have Jordan Reed and he's injured right now, pick up Larry Donnell for sure. He did good last week. I believe he got a touchdown. He was 5 for 56 with 1 touchdown. He was the leading performer of the New York Giants.
Yeah. Let's see. How about Jared Cook? I mean, he's on the Rams. The Rams are struggling right now. They're going to be at Tampa Bay. Do you think that this would be a good option for somebody to pick up if they're looking for tight end?
I would rather pick up Dwayne Allen.
Okay. He's on Indiana.
Dwayne Allen has a good quarterback who spreads the ball around. Jared Cook is in St. Louis and has who even knows who's starting in St. Louis? I don't know.
You know, I don't remember who it is.
Is it Davis or is it that other guy? I have no idea. I'd pick up Niles Paul before I picked up Jared Cook.
Okay.
Because, like I said, Jordan Reed, Niles Paul's a good handcuff. He went 4 receptions for 86 yards last week.
Niles Paul has an actual quarterback to throw to him, too.
Yes, he does.
I mean, whether or not RG3 isn't very good or not, but, I mean, he's better than whoever St. Louis has.
Whoever St. Louis has, yes.
Yeah, so
definitely. Travis Kelce is available in our league. Surprising. He's really good, but I wouldn't play him against Denver.
No. Not against Denver. Maybe once they play Oakland.
But Niles Paul's a good option because he's against Jacksonville, and the Jordan Reed's injured. He went 4 for 86 last week. I'd say he's good to go.
One more position to go over before we transition into baseball.
Defense.
This would be the defense, yes. Is there any defenses looking at this list that you think might be worthy of picking up? For instance, my backup defense is the Steelers. Thank God I didn't start them.
Oh, yeah. That would have been bad.
Yeah, but I do have the Rams, and I'm a little skeptical. I know that the Rams are supposed to have a good defense, and that's what's going to carry them pretty much throughout the whole season, whether they win 2 games or not. Their defense will still be pretty good. It's just a question of maybe picking up somebody like the Vikings, Titans, Eagles.
I would not.
Those are the top 3.
Yeah, they are the top 3 for last week. But this week, Vikings against New England's a no-no. Titans versus Dallas is intriguing.
Yeah,
but the one that I see that is the best spot start is Dolphins at Buffalo.
I agree with that.
I would pick that up. I think they're going to be in the top 5 of defenses.
That Dolphins defense shut down Tom Brady of all people
and
in
Shane
that second
Green
half.
And all their wide receivers.
Gronk,
yes.
everybody.
Gronk. Oh my gosh, I had Gronk and I was so angry. I'm like, pass it.
Right.
There's so many incomplete and broken up passes to Gronk. I think he was like 4 of 9 or something like that. Something ridiculous.
That wouldn't surprise me. Okay, we're gonna take our break, and then we will go into baseball. We'll let you know how we did last week. We'll check on our fantasy teams and get you everything you need to know for that. So stick around to Fantasy Fanatics, SportsTownChicago.com.
Put Sturgis in the flex.
No better place to check on your fantasy football team than Fantasy Fanatics, Fridays 2 to 4 p.m. on SportsTownChicago.com. Andrew Freeman and I, Ryan Stuprich, will review the game from Thursday, look ahead to the games on Sunday, and give you everything you need to know before those big games. That's the problem with the Lions. It's hard to pick them to ever win the NFC North because everyone gets injured. We also had a fantasy draft of our own, so we're playing right along with you. Who was the number 1 pick in our league?
He's got 8 seconds left to pick someone. I think he's going to have auto-picked. So he has Adrian Peterson is going to be the first pick of the draft. No, he picked Calvin Johnson?
We will also give you the latest news on injured players, waiver wire pickups, and more. And don't worry, we didn't forget about fantasy baseball as it's coming down the home stretch. Next game will be the Red Sox at the Tampa Bay Rays. This was a matchup of 2 players that are gone now, John Lester and David Price. Find out if there's any last-second adjustments you need to make to your fantasy team before you head to the playoffs. We will also take your calls and let you know what's going on in our fantasy leagues. So join Andrew Freeman and Ryan Stuprich Fridays, 2 to 4 p.m. on SportsTownChicago.com for Fantasy Fanatics. Tucker Wright and the Posey.
And now it's time for Fantasy Fanatics.
Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. We talked about football for our first hour, all the fantasy stuff, and then our picks and everything like that. Now we're transitioning into baseball as Andrew is in a pickle.
Yes.
He is in a giant pickle here, down by almost 100 points to the number 6 seed.
I am. and he's cheating.
Well,
He's a cheater.
is it really cheating if you keep dropping your pitchers? I don't do that, and I don't think anyone else really does.
We need to change the rules next year. Person I'm playing against is
now, have you talked to him? Because this is your friend Ashish. Have you talked to him about this?
Letting it go.
You're going to let it go?
Football has started. I'll get my vengeance that way.
Sure. The other game that's going on in the winner's bracket, not the consolation. We're not going to talk about that.
Yes.
But in the winner's bracket, Coco and Company is down by 100 points to I Like Staten Island Girls. I'm pretty sure we all thought I Like Staten Island Girls would win this.
Yeah, but he's really winning by a lot.
Yeah, he's winning by 100. You're almost down by 100. But you're not out of it yet.
No, I'm not.
So keep fighting, and maybe something will happen. Although it doesn't help that your top scorer is Eric Ibar.
I mean, he hasn't been doing that bad.
No, he hasn't.
It's just every time he has a pitcher pitch, after they pitch, he drops them and then picks up another pitcher who's going to start tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So every day he's had 2 pitchers, and he's out of pitchers though.
Right.
If he wants to win the week after this one, he can't drop any more pitchers.
So let's take a look at this free agent list for the pitchers. I'm really interested to see what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, are there just a bunch of waivers now?
Wendy added Yordano Ventura, dropped Devin Mazzaraco.
Okay.
Added Francisco Liriano, who had a great game last night.
Which is surprising to me. He has not had a good season.
And dropped Wei Yin Chin, who had a great game the night before.
So he's just trying to get as many points as he can from his pitchers.
Yes. He added Wei Yin Chin after Edinson Volquez played.
Yeah.
And then dropped
It just makes you mad.
Seriously? And here's how it started. He dropped Devin Mazzaraco, added Edinson Volquez.
Yeah.
And then not even a day later, after Edinson Volquez played, he dropped Edinson Volquez, picked up Zach Wheeler. No, drops Zach Wheeler? Dropped Zach Wheeler. Okay.
I know he's added and dropped Zach Wheeler like 10 times.
Okay, then he added Wei Yin Chin. After Edinson Volquez played and got him 9 points, he added Wei Yin Chin, who got him another 20 points, and then dropped Wei Yin Chin to Francisco Liriano, who got him another 20 points.
Jeez.
All the pitchers he's adding are doing good, and that's just, it's like the fantasy gods are against me, because it could have gone the other way. He could have gone negative.
Yeah, he's gotten more lucky in what he's been doing.
Yes, it's working out for him.
That more skill, but there are some people on the free agent list who are pitching tonight, including Kyle Loesch, Henderson Alvarez. But that's a good pickup for somebody if you're looking for somebody, Andrew. I don't know.
I
if
hope
you
you're
are,
not listening to this, Ashish.
And Brandon McCarthy.
I'm going to stick to my team, because if I win and I drop all my starting pitchers, where am I going to be next week?
Yeah.
Like, everybody else is just going to vulture off my drops.
I am on a bye week right now, and so is Get Down with the Kipnis. I didn't think he would actually be the
He won
top.
and was
top in the West. I was very surprised by
this.
I
can't remember how he beat Stanton, but he did.
I know he beat me twice, or at least once, and I was very upset about it because I thought I had a way better team than him. But he ended up so he must have had a better record against I Like Stanton Island.
Must have been.
Yeah, he must.
That's the only, because Stanton was ahead in almost every category.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I see myself coming back, because I have Wainwright and Carrasco pitching tonight.
Can't go wrong with that.
So
hopefully.
But he has Yordano Ventura pitching tonight. I hope he goes negative 60 points.
It's possible. He's not stable. I mean, he's good, but he's not stable enough.
It's against Boston. Come on, Boston.
Right. And
I'll never cheer for Boston, but let's go.
Do you have anybody who's playing on the Yankees or Baltimore? Because they're playing a doubleheader, and it's 0-0 in the bottom of the ninth right now between them and the
bases
first
are
game.
Loaded in that one, but no, I do not.
Oh, are the bases loaded? Well,
yeah.
there's going to be a walk-off coming soon, hopefully.
Hundley walked, Q Berry to third, and Jay Hardy to second. So Baltimore's about to win. There's 2 outs, though, so it could go into the 10th.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know if you have any fantasy players on those teams.
No, I do not.
Because you can get a lot of points.
Yes, you can.
Speaking of Baltimore, there was some news involving Chris Davis.
Yeah.
he's not having a good year this year. He had a great year last year.
Not.
He almost won AL MVP last year, actually.
He's batting.
I know I went to Miguel Cabrera
or some crazy number.
Yeah, like 160 something, one not good. He has hit a lot more home runs lately. He's struck out a major league leading 173 times. That is
I guess those amphetamines aren't working.
Yeah, I'm glad he was, happy to admit it. Like, he did admit it, and, he didn't really, fall back on it. He tested positive for amphetamines. I think he said something like these were amphetamines that were legal last year, but they changed the policy, and he just didn't change what he was taking.
That's what Welker's saying.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different
Welker's
issue.
denying the entire thing, though. He's
Right.
like, no, man.
You can read my article about Wes Welker that I wrote a couple weeks ago, possible replacements for Wes Welker. I know Marcus Wheaton was on that list that I made. And
no, go tell him where to go.
Yeah, sportsmockery.com is the website.
He's a sports writer.
Yes.
Guys. And if you click on his stuff, he gets paid.
That's true.
So you go to...
I think I also get paid by how many ads and how many people click on the ads when they're on my page. I don't know.
You go to it. You go to sportsmockery.com and look up Ryan's
Stuprich.
stories.
Yes. You can. I don't know if you can type in my name, but you can click on one of my articles, and then at the bottom of the page, you click on my name, and all the articles pop up. But
just look for all the articles about DePaul.
Yeah.
Find him.
I've written 2 in a row about them, I think. Chris Davis, who's 28 years old, tested positive for the stimulant Adderall, so maybe he's got ADD.
I mean, you
know.
never know.
According to a person in baseball familiar with the test results. So, yeah, I mean,
if you
this is
tested
kind of
me
interesting.
right now, I'd be positive for Adderall.
Yeah. Well, good thing you're not playing in the majors. Otherwise, you'd be suspended 25 games, and you'd miss 8 postseason games like Chris Davis is going to miss. I'm not sure how bad that is for them. I mean, he hasn't had a very productive year, so it's not a huge loss for Baltimore, but they got to be mad that their starting first baseman is out like that.
Yep. Just Adderall, crush it up, and then add some deer antler spray, and you got yourself a party.
Deer antler spray, yeah.
It's better than Slizurp. It's Elkerp.
Elkerp. Okay, let's see if there's any hitters in our fantasy baseball league. I don't know if there's any batters that are available that are worth picking up. Maybe for you, maybe for me or somebody else.
I gotta stick with my team, but
it looks like most people are hurt, of course, that are on the thing. The first person, I mean, Adam LaRoche is still available. If we had a DH spot, he'd certainly be gone.
Adam LaRoche is rocking 81.5 total points for the week, last 7 days, that is.
Yeah.
4 home runs. And he's going up against Zach Wheeler tonight. That's a good ad, but I already have Kenny's.
Yeah, and I've got, who's my first baseman again? How could I forget? He's pretty good. Yeah, I got Freddie Freeman. That's who I got.
And then that's it that's the only person I would tell you to get.
Pretty much.
The rest are in the 60s, 50s.
Yeah.
We go over to pitching. Okay, everyone that Wendy City has dropped is looking pretty. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's sort of how it looks like, right? Like when you think about it.
I'm surprised you didn't pick up Buckholz or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see if you can pull this out.
Yeah. If I come back from a 101-point deficit and beat him, that's just karma.
Mm-hmm. Did we find out if that game was over with? Did the Orioles win? Do we know?
Shoop struck out looking, so it is going into the 10th.
Oh, wow.
And Ellsbury's up in the bottom of that lineup, so it might be game over.
Yeah, it could be. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to do our pitching matchups for the week, and those will be pretty interesting as we're coming down the home stretch here, and we'll talk more about the MLB playoff race and all that. So stick around, Fantasy Fanatics, SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Andrew Freeman.
And now let us take a look at the, let's see, this would be taking a look at the MLB playoff race. Currently, Baltimore is leading the AL East, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the AL East. They're leading the AL East by 10 games over Toronto, so they pretty much have a lock for that.
Yeah.
There's 16 regular season games left. So
I don't think losing Chris Davis really hurts them.
Yeah.
I mean, someone
that's sort of what I'm saying, too.
batting 160, and I don't know, he might have
He's got 26 home runs.
He might have a bunch of home runs, but wouldn't you rather have somebody that can make contact with the ball and get on the plate?
I would. And so they have a 10-game lead over Toronto. Yankees are hanging in there, at least to pass up Toronto. They're only a game back from Toronto. Or I'm actually a half game back of Toronto.
Anto and Richardson's on first and the top of the 10th.
Okay.
With Ellsbury up.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted on that game, obviously. Kansas City is only up by about a half a game over Detroit. Who do you think is going to win that division? Do you think Kansas City or Detroit? Because it's probably going to be one or the other.
I think Kansas City's going to fizzle out, and Detroit will take the lead back because it's been going back and forth.
I'd be kind of disappointed in that. I'd really like Kansas City to win the division. I think it'd be good for them. That has to, if they win the division, it has to be their first division win that they've had in I don't know how long. So maybe even since the year they won the World Series in 1985. I know that they currently have the longest drought of not making the postseason out of any MLB team. So
they're going to make the post. They're just not going to be first.
Yeah, well, they might not make the postseason. That's the thing. If Detroit takes them over, you got Oakland, who has one more win than Kansas City and Detroit right now. Seattle only has one less win than Detroit and Kansas City. Seattle could pop up there. I just don't think Seattle's offense is strong enough. I think Kansas City could beat them in an offensive fest.
Well, Kansas City's playing Boston, which...
Yeah,
yikes.
so they should, but Boston did beat them yesterday, so it's going to be interesting.
If they get swept by Boston, bye-bye.
Yeah, I don't know if they could ever recover from that. The White Sox took 3 of 4 from Oakland, which was pretty surprising, but Oakland still has that wild card lead right now. So currently, Detroit would be going to Oakland to play for the wild card during the one-game wild card. So that would be exciting.
Indeed.
And, yeah, Seattle is in there. And then after that, Cleveland's 3 games back of Seattle, so that's pretty much it. The Yankees are pretty much done, although they're hanging in there. They're 4 games back of the wild card, and they just hit a 3-run walk-off home run last night. So that's pretty exciting for them.
Well, they got another game right after this one at 6:05 Eastern or Central Time.
Yeah, if they can hold on and win this and then win the next one, you never know.
Yep.
Looking at the National League, you have Washington is blowing away the competition in the NL East. They're up by 8 games over the Washington Nationals. So
they're fine.
I mean, over the Atlanta Braves. Yeah,
they're good.
Yeah, St. Louis came roaring back from Milwaukee. Milwaukee has lost something like 12 of 14, something like that. It was not good. They're on a 2-game winning streak right now, but they really had some trouble.
Yeah.
And that brought Miami back a little bit. They're 71 and 74. They're 5.5 out of a wild card spot. So
that's too much ground to cover.
Mm-hmm. It's too little, too late because there's only about 16 games left in the season.
And Stanton just got a fastball to the face yesterday.
Yeah, did you see that? That was horrible.
Pretty bad. I don't think he's out for the season, man.
Yeah, he is out for the season. I think they already ruled him out for the season.
Yeah.
He has some issues with his teeth, some facial fractures. It's definitely not good. It's sort of like what happened to Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, after getting hit like that, you just wonder, are they going to come back the same, or is there going to be that fear that he's going to get hit in the face
because
again?
I love Stanton a lot.
Yeah,
and
he's a great player.
I mean, he's
baseball.
the face of that franchise, and it would really suck to see him go down for Miami.
How does a pitcher let go of a pitch like that much?
I don't know, but he did tweet out. I think it was Michael Fyers on the Brewers. He tweeted out to Stanton. He said, "I'm sorry. I feel horrible for what I did. I hope for a speedy recovery for you." He tweeted out something like that, so that was nice of him. Pittsburgh currently has the second wild card spot. They're up by 1.5 games over the Brewers for the second spot. I'd love for Milwaukee and Pittsburgh to both be the 2 wild card teams. That would be a crazy in-division rival. You'd either be in Milwaukee or in Pittsburgh. Either way, that would be pretty exciting. But San Francisco pretty much is going to hold on to that first spot, it looks like, as they're 81 and 65.
Yeah.
And they're 4 games ahead of the second wild card spot. The Dodgers are only 2 games ahead of San Francisco for the division lead, but they've been doing pretty well. They're 7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah, I like San Francisco as a team. I think they're good. The Dodgers are really good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the thing is, the Dodgers have a really good pitching staff with Kershaw, Greinke, Hyun-Jin Ryu. Dan Herron's been pitching well of late. So they've got a lot of good people that they can have. Miami is out pretty much. Atlanta is still in it. They're a game behind Milwaukee. So those 2 teams can make a final push. There are already teams in the American League and National League that have been eliminated from contention. So they're playing for nothing right now, and that would be Arizona and Colorado in the National League. I didn't think that they would be so bad.
Colorado has got a great hitting, but their pitching
Colorado
is
was
bad.
the one team I did not think they would be last.
Well, they had the best batting average in baseball as a team.
Mm-hmm. And then
they just...
I mean, Arizona, I could see them being this bad, but not Colorado at all. And then in the American League, there's 3 teams already eliminated. Boston, the World Series champs, have been eliminated from contention to making the playoffs. Minnesota has been eliminated, and so has Texas. Houston has 2 more games until they're eliminated. The White Sox have 3. The Cubs have 4, and then Philadelphia has 7. So the Cubs, 4 games. If they lose 4 more games, then they're out. They're currently on a 6-game losing streak, too.
Hooray, go Cubs.
Yeah, hey, next year we're going to see Chris Bryant at third base probably, so that'll be exciting. Yeah,
Where are they going to put Rizzo then? First?
I mean third base when I said first.
Okay.
Yeah, Rizzo will be at first, Baez most likely at second, Castro at short, Bryant at third. You'll have Soler in right field, I believe. Alcantara in center. If not Alcantara, then possibly Almora could get a call-up. He would play center field. You have Coughlin in left. There's also some other people that could be in left, like Kyle Schwarber.
Ruggiano.
Well, Ruggiano is pretty much done. He's going to be gone, probably. And, yeah, your catcher's still Wellington, Castillo. Yeah, and then that pitching rotation, a lot of the young guys they brought up are doing good. Kyle Hendricks, Tsuyoshi Wada, Jake Arrieta, who they got from Baltimore. He's pitched really well this year, of course. Yeah, there's a couple other guys, too, that are pitching well. This is going to be a good rotation moving forward. Travis Wood is the only question mark.
Yeah.
Because he's not pitching well this year.
It's okay. You can let him go.
Yeah. I mean, Edwin Jackson's pretty much going to be done. I think he has 1 more year on his contract. They might just terminate that and get rid of him.
Yeah. I heard we were going to pick up a big-name pitcher. What was his name?
John Lester was the name because
John
his connection to Theo Epstein and he's, he doesn't throw as powerful as some of the other guys like James Shields and who's the other? And I mean, even a guy like Jeff Samardzija, who wouldn't be opposed to coming back with the Cubs. I just think they're going to go after Lester. He's a good guy. He's crafty. That's the thing. He's more crafty, and I think he's willing to wait a year or 2 before the Cubs can win a World Series, which could happen, and probably not next year, but 2016 they're going to be right in there. I know all the experts will be saying that they might have a good shot of going to the World Series, but
yeah.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, right? Okay. Let us go over... Well, first let me go over the games from last week. As we had Andrew on the phone last week, he picked his baseball matchups. And I went over this right before our show started, and boy, it didn't look good for me. So
yeah.
I'll just go over it real quick. The first 2 games were no decisions. Second game, we both got a point. That was Kansas City and New York. James Shields beat Michael Pineda. No decision next game. The next game and on is where you started to do really well. You got Jake Peavy over Rick Porcello, and I had Rick Porcello winning that. You had Jared Cosart against Adam Harang. You picked Cosart, so that was good. So you were up 3-1 at that point. I mean, the final score ended up being 8-4 you. So
yeah.
So I think you've taken the lead in the totals now.
What a blowout.
Yeah, and I can go over that later. But yeah, you blew me out 8-4. You just kept picking the right people, and you also had Bartolo Colon, who I did not think was going to win. You had him over Alfredo Simon.
Old man Colon.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, you had a couple other games too that you picked right. So
How'd Risky do?
I didn't total up his, but he pretty much picked the same people I picked, so you would have beaten him too.
Bam!
So I don't know how you did it, Andrew, but maybe it's because you were away.
Fantasy master.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, but you picked him right. We're gonna do a update now, go to break, and then we'll come back. We'll pick these matchups for our pitching, and then we'll talk about some other stuff too during the hometown breakdown and all that. But right now, we're going to do an update. Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Andrew Freeman.
And we are now going to go over, this is our signature segment, we're going to go over our pitching matchups for the week, or for the day. Today, Friday, September 12th. So we're not obviously going to be doing the first of the doubleheader between New York and Baltimore.
The number 2 game is where we'll start.
Yes, so we are going to start with New York and Baltimore, the second game. That'll be Mitchell against Bud Norris. I'm not sure who this Mitchell guy is. He's actually making his Major League debut.
Okay.
He's 0-0 with a 0.00 ERA, so...
I've made my decision.
And then Bud Norris is 12-8 with a 3.92.
Yeah, I'm going Norris.
I'm going to also go Bud Norris. All right, so that's that. Chicago and Pittsburgh, you got Tsuyoshi Wada versus Garrett Cole. Tsuyoshi Wada is 4-2 with a 2.95 ERA. Garrett Cole is 8-5 with a 3.89.
The losing streak ends tonight.
I agree with you, actually. So
Wada, bing bang.
All right, so we both picked Tsuyoshi Wada. Miami and Philadelphia. You got Henderson Alvarez versus Cole Hamels. This is a good matchup.
Miami doesn't have Stanton anymore, so I'm going to go with Hamels.
Okay, this is interesting. I think I'm going to go Miami. I think Miami's going to try to make one more push here. It's going to be tough to see, but yeah, I'm going to take Miami. And you went with Cole Hamels.
Yes.
Tampa Bay and Toronto. Carnes, who was making his Major League debut for Tampa Bay, against J.A. Happ, who's 9-9 with a 4.44 ERA.
Happ.
You're going to go Happ. I'm also going to go Happ. I think Toronto is going to go on a big winning streak here.
See.
Yeah. Okay, we got Cleveland and Detroit. This is the Indians and Tigers. Carrasco versus David Price.
Carrasco's my boy.
You're going Carrasco?
He's my fantasy pitcher. I need 30 points.
I'll go Carrasco. I think he's going to do it for you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Washington and the Mets. You got Gio Gonzalez versus Dylan G.
I've never been a G fan.
Me neither. He's 6-7 with a 3.74 ERA, so not horrible, but Gio Gonzalez a little better with 8 wins.
Yeah, I'm going to side with Gonzalez on this one.
I'm going to as well. Atlanta and Texas. We got Alex Wood versus Derek Holland. Now, Holland is back. He's 1-0 with a .64 ERA, so he had a good outing, his first outing back.
I believe the ERA is going to be a 6-point after this game.
It's going to skyrocket that high.
Skyrocket.
Huh? Yeah.
It's done. Nine scores in 4 innings.
So you're going Alex Wood.
Yes, I am.
I'm going to also go Alex Wood. I don't know how you could pick against them when Texas is just so bad this year.
So bad.
Boston and Kansas City. I think Alan Webster's his name, against Yordani Ventura. I think I'm going to go Boston. I think Webster's going to pitch a good game.
Webster has a 6.47 ERA, so I'm going to go Ventura.
All right, you're going to go Ventura. I just think Ventura is going to have a bad game. Yeah, I'll take the risk on that. Cincinnati and Milwaukee. This is the big series for Milwaukee. They pretty much have to sweep the Reds here if they want to stay in the race. Matt Latos versus Kyle Loesch. This is a good matchup. Latos is 5-5 with a 3.25 ERA. Latos is Kyle Loesch is 12-9 with a 3.85.
Loesch in the second half has been horrible. Actually,
yes, he has.
To tell you the truth, I'd say he's been like 4-6.
Yeah,
4-6.
I know his ERA
4-7.
is extremely high because his ERA was like in the 2s and it's skyrocketed all the way almost to 4s.
So I'm gonna go opposite of Loesch. Go stick with Latos.
Okay, I'm still gonna stick with Loesch. I think Milwaukee needs this game. I think they'll have a big game from Ryan Braun again.
They need it, but Loesch has not brought the heat that he was bringing the first half of the season.
The Twins White Sox game we are not doing because That is postponed.
Yay.
The Rockies and Cardinals. Cardinals trying to continue their lead in the NL Central. It's going to be Jorge De La Rosa versus Adam Wainwright. I mean, how do you pick against Wainwright?
You don't have to think about it. Wainwright's had 4 complete games this season.
That's crazy.
I'm going to go with Wainwright.
As will I.
Cardinals fans are complaining that Wainwright is no Carpenter.
Yeah.
That's what they're complaining about. Like, they're crazy. Come on, man. 17-9 with the 2.62
That's Cardinal fans
ERA.
for you. They're
nuts.
They're pretty stupid sometimes. I mean, I'll be the first to say they're stupid.
They're dumb.
We got I almost said Chargers. We got the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Eric Stoltz versus Eduardo Nuno.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stoltz, even though he's a slow-pitch softball pitcher.
He's got more wins than Nuno.
Yeah.
Nuno's 2-10.
Nuno's really bad with a 4.37.
That was a good move by the Yankees. He went over from New York for Brandon McCarthy. So.
Yeah, great pickup.
Yeah. I'm also going to go Stoltz. Houston and the Angels. The Angels have been rocking. They're 91-55. They're facing a team that has one more win than the Cubs. They're 65-81. You got Oberholzer against C.J. Wilson. C.J. Wilson's not doing too well this year. He's 11-9 with a 4.64 ERA. But it's Houston, right?
No. Wilson has been on fire since the second half.
Oh, has he?
He's been doing real good. I thought about picking him up a few times.
I have not been paying attention to it. It wouldn't surprise me. I want to try to get his numbers up here. I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, he's good. Let's see.
Yeah.
I think I already have him. Let's see. C.J. Wilson.
Yeah,
he's starting
if you got
today.
it up.
He got a win against Minnesota, a loss against Houston, and then not so good against Oakland, and then good against Oakland. Then 2 wins in a row against Boston and Philly, and then that's not so good. 2 losses against the Dodgers and Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he has been on fire. He just came off a really good outing against Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, he played 6.1 innings, 6 strikeouts.
So who do you think you're going to go with?
4 walks. I'm going to... C.J. Wilson.
Okay, you're going to go Wilson. I'm going to go Oberholzer. Oberholzer. Good German guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Oakland and Seattle. Got Jason Hamill versus Paxton for Seattle. He's 5-2 with a 1.87. Wow, he's doing really well. And Hamill hasn't been very good since he's been to Oakland.
I really like Paxton. I'm going to tell you. I think Seattle's going to beat Oakland in this one.
I agree. I do think Seattle's going to beat Oakland. I could see Oakland really slipping. I mean, if Seattle wins this game, they'll be tied for a second wild card spot, I believe. So they'll be pretty close. Last game is the Dodgers and the Giants. You got Hyun-Jin Ryu, who's on my fantasy team, but I have a bye week, against Madison Bumgarner, who's 17-9. He has 17 wins with a 3.02 ERA. It's in San Francisco.
I'm going to go Bumgarner. I'm going to say the Panda Express is going to hit a home run.
Okay. So you think Pablo Sandoval is going to go deep?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I'm also going to go Bumgarner. He's going to get 18 wins, which I think could put him at the top, along with Adam Wainwright. I think Adam Wainwright has 17 wins.
Yeah, he's 17-9.
Right.
Well. Those
might be the 2 top ones as far as the National League. I think Felix Hernandez might have the most overall. But so those are our matchups. Okay. Now we got a little bit of time here, as it's 3:43, going down the home stretch here. We're going to play our 7th inning stretch and hometown breakdown, and then we will come back and talk a little bit about
basketball.
The Bulls. We'll tell you that we're going to be starting to talk about fantasy basketball.
Fantasy basketball's coming up.
But also we'll talk about Rose and stuff. I know he hasn't been doing very well in the USA tournament.
He's a gimpy little child.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works. But first, the 7th inning stretch.
Let me hear you. Going loud. R1, R2, R3. Take me out to the lobby. Take me out to the lobby. Find something and say back to back. I don't care whatever is back.
If you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself? What? I know I would. First, I'd smother myself with brown mustard and relish. I'd be so delicious. So would you?
I don't know.
Don't jerk me around, Norm. It's a simple question. A baby could answer it. If you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself?
I guess so.
Oh, you made a wise choice, my friend.
It's the hometown breakdown.
Cotton Cubs, Sox, Bears, and Bulls.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics.
Welcome back.
As we go with the hometown breakdown here.
Yes.
The Sox game is postponed, so
Indeed.
that's a shame.
And we were just talking to one another about why doesn't NFL? I mean, they have the halftime show, but they don't have like the seventh inning stretch.
Yeah, they don't have a nice song that families can sing together.
No. Instead,
at ball
you
games.
at halftime have to hear Pharrell sing "Happy" 8 times.
Right, and
then Aerosmith
and then,
will
of course,
show up out of the stage and start playing an old song that
Right.
the old people can relate to.
and then at the Bears games, you sing the Bear Down song when they score, but that gets kind of old.
And then the Pepsi logo pops up.
Drink Pepsi.
And then there's a costume thing happening.
Yep, and then
Dysfunction, boobies.
in basketball, I know the Bulls have a cool intro for their
Yeah.
for their NBA games, but there's nothing really in the NBA like that.
They both just have halftime. I mean, baseball
Mm-hmm.
has a 7th inning stretch,
Right.
and it's I don't know. I like that baseball has that.
Yeah.
It should
I
be
think
the
everybody
6th
does.
inning stretch, but
You know, whatever. Well, hey, in Milwaukee, they have the sausage race in between the
yes.
6 innings, so that's
people get
exciting.
injured during those sausage
Yeah,
races.
yeah, they do.
Almost every time someone gets tackled. I think we should ban sausage races.
Right. So Derrick Rose, you know, he's playing. I think the USA is in the championship game now for the
Yeah,
FIBA World Cup.
They are. Congratulations to them.
Because France upset Spain, which is very surprising. Everyone thought Spain would win. Everyone thought Spain USA in the final. It'd be Pau
Yeah,
Gasol versus
seriously.
Derrick Rose.
Seriously, the Gasol brothers against our U.S. team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say Derrick Rose is one of the highlights of the team.
Right,
I
and
mean, you have Kyrie and so many other
it's funny
good players.
because the two best players on the French national team are usually Joakim Noah and Tony Parker, and they didn't even play. So I don't know how they ended up pulling that out. But
France is coming up. Yeah.
yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see. You know, Rose still can't make a shot to save his life. He was like 1 for 8 from the field.
Yeah.
Last game, he had one good game. I think it was the game before their last one. I don't remember who they were playing. It might have been the Czech
I think
team.
it's
something like that.
psychological, man. I think he's actually scared to put pressure on his knees.
I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's because he's playing against the best people in the world. Where, you know, on the Bulls he has a lot more people to pass you. But like, you know, he's like not even the main point guard on this team. It's Kyrie Irving is the main point guard on this USA team. But Rose is still shooting. He was like 1 for 8.
Yeah.
That's not good.
He has not looked good at all. I'm glad he's out there and playing and being competitive. But
I mean it helps. It's just
he looks
I don't know.
hesitant to cut, and he doesn't look like he's going full speed like he used to. Your jaw would drop. Like whoa.
I know the USA coach Mike Krzyzewski says, "Don't worry about Derrick Rose. He's fine. He's going to be back to health, and everything's going to be okay for the Bulls." But of course, Mike Krzyzewski's a Bulls fan. He was born and raised in Chicago, and of course Tom Thibodeau is on that team as well. Here's a quote from Tom Thibodeau about Derrick Rose's play so far. "I thought his defense was terrific. He's not making shots right now, but each day he's gotten more and more comfortable, doing a good job running the team, and we just want him to continue to concentrate on his improvement, but physically he feels great." He goes on to say, "When you miss 2.5 years of playing, there's rust you have to shake off. Right now, his shot is not falling, but that will come. He's more of a scorer than he is a pure shooter." I definitely agree with that. "We know he's a great driver and a great finisher. So right now, he drives. His drives have been explosive and great. The ball just hasn't gone in for him." So that's something. But also, he's not really, you know, doing his assisting or you know, anything like that. He's not assisting. He is driving to the lane and getting fouled sometimes, but
he's running straight. He's not cutting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see here because The Bulls starting lineup, I mean, it's a good lineup. Everyone's already sort of penciling in Cavaliers, Bulls, Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know.
Yikes.
Because Miami is still decent. You know, they'll be in the playoffs.
Sure.
And the Knicks,
You can say that.
if they ever figure it out, they could be in the playoffs too with Carmelo.
I'm going to go
They
ahead.
wouldn't go very far.
I'm going to be ballsy and say I don't think Miami might be close to not making it into the playoffs. It might be a
Ooh.
wild card.
This is the Eastern Conference, though, Andrew. It's
I
a
know.
lot worse than the West.
I know, but they're without LeBron, and did they get rid of what's his face? The Bosch?
They still have Bosch. Bosch signed a 4 or 5 year deal, and they still have Wade, and they have Chalmers, and they have Chris Anderson, the Birdman. I think they
You
still have
always
him.
want Chalmers.
Yeah, well,
he's number one.
it's something. Norris Cole is an okay bench player,
And the Birdman's been on like 3 different teams, Denver to he's been everywhere.
but he was somewhere before Denver, maybe Atlanta, something
Yeah.
like that. Speaking of Atlanta, did you hear about the racist remarks that the Atlanta Hawks owner said regarding Luol Deng?
No, I didn't.
Let me see if I can get a news story up. Basically, he said Luol Deng. I'm not sure exactly what he said.
Did you hear that the Ravens they gave the game up to Ray Rice?
Yeah,
They're like, we won for Ray Rice.
yeah. So
Wow.
That's
Yikes.
ugh, it's creepy.
We're gonna have some PR issues.
So on Thursday is when this report came out where the Atlanta Hawks general manager he resigned. He resigned, by the way, but the Atlanta Hawks general manager Danny Ferry, he says as part of his report, he was talking about something, but then he also said he's got a little African in him, is what the guy said regarding Luol Deng.
I mean,
So
don't we
that's
all?
nice.
Don't we all have a little African in us?
I guess. I don't know. Maybe we do and we don't know it, right?
I feel like we all came from one place.
Yeah, that's definitely not out of the question. So he said that about Luol Deng. Of course, Luol Deng's from South Sudan, I think, is the town he's from. But I mean, Luol Deng's just like a really nice guy and a really good guy. It sucks for him that this happened to him.
Deng's from Southern Sudan.
Yes, and he went to Duke. I think
That's
I think
crazy,
he played in Duke.
man.
Yeah,
I wonder if
he's-
his family's in the whole Darfur issue down there.
Yeah, he was born in Wa, South Sudan in 1985, so he's 29 years old. So yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. So that was just a little bit about him. The Cubs are in Pittsburgh tonight. The Bears have that big game against the 49ers. Any last thoughts about the 49ers and Bears game before we wrap up?
Yeah. Well, when I was watching, we were watching. You watched the Bears game, right?
Yes,
In some of the throws Cutler was making, did they make you nervous?
they did. There were certain times where he should have thrown it away. And
He
didn't.
should have had 4 picks in that game at least. But thank God the Buffalo defense is horrible.
Right.
But every time he threw it in the air, I held my breath a little. Mm-hmm. He's throwing it in double coverage to Marshall.
Yeah.
And he's playing against San Francisco. If you throw this next game, if you throw that pass, it will get intercepted.
That's the thing. 'Cause
So I'm calling more interceptions than touchdowns by Cutler this game.
that would make me so mad. But
I know, but say I'm wrong. Say I'm wrong.
you're not wrong about it. That's why I'm mad. Because you're not wrong about it. I would love to see the Bears upset the 49ers. I think that would be great.
Who wouldn't want to see that? I would love to see that, but I don't.
Although I do like Colin Kaepernick. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I do like him.
The only way the Bears are going to be able to win is if they can rattle Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. And Kaepernick didn't even have to do anything last game. His defense got most of the touchdowns. He did have that amazing pass downfield to Vernon Davis after he got tripped up.
Right.
That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. And it's always fun to see the Cowboys struggle too.
Yeah. Every time the Cowboys lose, Romo.
All right, this has been Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Andrew Freeman.
We'll see you next week. And also coming up soon, we will be talking about NBA basketball and all that stuff and see if the Bulls can bring back title number 7 to the United Center. We'll see. So stick around next week, same time.